Guys, welcome back to the channel, and today you're going to know we've got another prep update. So last time you got a prep update, I was 20 weeks out and sitting at 186.2 pounds, and now since then have had a 2-week diet break, and now I'm also 2 weeks back into dieting, and I dieted for 2 weeks before that too. So there's been another month of dieting, but 6 total weeks, and so the physique you're going to be seeing is about 14 weeks out and sitting at 182.6 pounds. So are near enough 4 pounds down, not quite even that. So there's not been a huge amount of body weight loss, but there's been quite a bit of time that's gone on. And because I was already relatively lean, not significant changes needed to have been made. But this is where I'm at, and I thought it was about time. It's been over a month, so let's give you another prep update. And so that's where we're at. And I'll talk through some bits, and I'll just have my latest physique update in the background. I'll also show you my physique under some different lighting, to just give you some perspective of how lighting can also change how you're looking. So yeah, like I said, 14 weeks out now, 182.6 pounds, at least on that Monday weigh-in, which is the weigh-in that I give to Cliff, who is my coach at this moment, Cliff Wilson. And the biggest changes I have seen, at least in my physique, when you're looking at it, are through my legs. So my quads are much more separated. If I get them under good lighting, which the lighting that I have on them during these check-ins is fine. It's relatively honest though, and it doesn't highlight anything. Whereas you'll see in the other lighting, it really highlights my upper body, particularly my chest, and the kind of condition that's coming through there. Whereas this one just kind of gives you a decent look at how I'm looking. And if I look shredded in this lighting, I know I'm shredded. And so the biggest changes come through my legs, and that's where the biggest change needed to happen. As you saw last time on my physique, I was holding quite a bit more fat on my legs, particularly on my posterior, so through my glutes, hamstrings, also on my back. I hold a bit more fat there versus on my anterior through my upper body. So it's been cool to see that happen, and quite exciting also, because like I said, I have said this many times, because of how my legs are kind of put together, I needed them to really come up. And now sitting at this body weight, I'm about 10 pounds out. I can't exactly tell you, but the last time I stood on stage, I was between 170 and 175 pounds most of the time, depending on, I guess, how the peak went. And just competitors will know this. There's a whole bunch of things that can go on during that time where you just end up weighing more or less. But my kind of stage weight is around 170 to 175. And actually today I saw a weigh-in of just under 180 pounds, which, yeah, it's exciting because now I'm really getting into that very lean territory. So I thought, why not update you on my diet fatigue? So when I'm thinking about diet fatigue, I think about a number of factors. So I think about libido, I think about food focus, hunger, fatigue, mood, and sleep. They're kind of some markers that I think are hey, these are relatively common things that people feel when they diet, and term them under diet fatigue. So I'll go through each of these and kind of tell you where I'm at with them. So with my libido, it's and yeah, I mean, TMI, but I'm going to try and be as honest with it as possible. It's not something that I guess my frequency of thoughts, of sexual thoughts, have decreased. Let's put it that way. So where in a mass off season, most blokes probably agree with me, it's you're on your Instagram feed and hey, the algorithm is shifting my explore page to being more women than I think I should have there, really. Whereas now it's very spotty. It's mostly maybe more food, let's put it that way, that sort of thing. And yeah, my thoughts, sexual thoughts from what would have been a daily thing, have now become spotty through the week. To me, that's a good sign, because libido is one of the surefire things for me that just goes. And I think it's a really good correlative with testosterone. And of course, we want our testosterone to be as high as possible for as long as possible. But when we're getting down to essential levels of body fat and we're in a very lean and dieted position, your body's hey, reproduction, screw that. You're not in a position to survive. So I expect it to go down, but it's I think, given how lean I am, is in a decent spot, I would say. Things are still working. Let's put it that way. It's not it's unfunctional. And it's different for every person, but for me, that's pretty good right now. Then with food focus, I would say that has just started to increase. This is where I am mapping out days ahead of time. I am thinking about I'm eating at this time. I will not just naturally become hungry at the time I'm due to eat. I'm hungry before it, and then I'm going to delay how long I'm going to eat till here. Or if me and Charlotte are doing even on refeed days, I'm I want to plan out what, if we're doing a meal together, what it is. Because if I don't do that, then it just gets more challenging. I'm not as flexible. I would say my degree of flexibility has reduced. I might have been on like a long leash, if we term it that way, as a dog, whereas now it's like halved. Like I'm having to navigate things a bit more strictly there. And yeah, like I said, I'm thinking about food a little bit more. Like I said, my explore page has maybe got a few more Ninja Creamy recipes and things like that in there. Obviously just recently got Ninja Creamy, so it's somewhat understandable, but still it's similar with in my off season, and like I'm getting too many women come up on my explore page. I'm like, hey, this is a lack of focus. It's similar here. I don't want all this food coming up on my explore page. I'm like, get rid of that. Like, I don't want to have that either. Anyway, so food focus has creeped up, libido's come down. We'd expect this. Hunger has crept up. It's still manageable. I get bouts of hunger, and they typically come when I'm due to eat. If they come when I'm not due to eat, I can manage them. Hunger is one of those things where eventually you just have to go like, suck it up, buttercup. Like, come on. It's part of the process. There is a certain point where you can pull out all your satiety tricks, and there becomes a point where it's not even worth it, where you just end up feeling more bloated, more stuffed. Maybe you abuse artificial sweeteners a bit much. You just have this like taste in your mouth. You're like, this is just not nice. Or maybe you're having packs of chewing gum in the day. I've actually had a few pieces of chewing gum here or there, but I'm actually really happy that I'm not going down that route, because I just end up not feeling great. I would previously have like logged every day like a packet of gum in my macros, because it ends up adding up if you do it that way. Whereas I've not been doing that. I've been very conscious of how many artificial sweeteners I'm including in my diet, because I don't want them to get out of control. So I am experienced enough to know the tendencies that I get. And also I know my kind of fiber limit. When I get much over about 45 to 50 grams of fiber in a day, which is not crazy, but it's a significant amount, I start to the next day feel it, where my stomach just feels a bit bloated. I just don't feel as good in myself. My digestion, my time like on the toilet, I guess, it's just not as good. Whereas if I keep it below 45, like, I'm golden, which is still plenty. I still get loads of ability to have oats and vegetables, but it means I also can't abuse those, which so far has been working really, really well. So hunger's ticked up a little bit, but more than manageable. Really not a problem. Fatigue, that is something that kind of comes in waves. I'd say generally fatigue, I'm pretty good, but the further I get away from my refeed days, the more fatigue is picking up. So I have my refeed days at the moment, Fridays and Sundays, just life at the moment. I might start manipulating when I have my refeed days in accordance to like days of which training is harder, to try and kind of get that fuel and recovery for those sessions. But at the moment, I'm doing it more lifestyle based. Me and Charlotte have still had a takeaway every single Friday, basically. And I've been enjoying that element of normality in my life. So still doing that. That's where I was going with this. Fatigue. So yeah, basically on Thursday, I start dwindling. And yeah, yesterday I was dwindling a little bit. Today's Friday. Or even psychologically knowing I've got a refeed, I think helps. So that's been good. So yeah, fatigue's not been too bad. Like I said, it just kind of, I get a recharge over the weekend due to the refeeds and it being the weekend. And then I just slowly drain myself, and then we refuel and go again, kind of deplete and replete in that sense. So fatigue's really honestly not been that bad. Mood, I would say similar with fatigue. When I'm eating a bit more, I'm less moody. As I have it removed, I get more and more fatigued, and I think my mood drops a little bit. So I have been a little bit more moody, but again, nothing crazy. Kind of similar with fatigue, hunger, all of these. It's been small changes in a negative direction. Then with sleep, honestly, my sleep had been very, very good, but I did have maybe 2 to 3 nights of quite spotty sleep this week, where nothing really changed. It was just I was waking up multiple times in the night. And there was one night I woke up for so long that I realized I just have to get myself out of my sleep. I have to get myself out of bed. And then I came into my office here and I read some of a book and like waited till I was sleepy and went back to bed. This is a kind of sleep hygiene practice that I highly recommend. It is evidence-based too. You basically, once you've been in bed for like 15, 20 minutes awake, it's a good idea to remove yourself, because then you start having this poor relationship with your bedroom of I'm wakeful, and you don't really want that. So you can remove yourself. I put my blue light blockers on, put a kind of low level light on, and I read and just do that. I'd avoid checking social media, turning your phone on, bright lights. Don't do anything that's going to wake you up. Try and stay in a sleepy kind of position. And that worked tremendously well, but it still wasn't the best sleep. So I have noticed my sleep take a little bit of a knock. Also, my dog, Ada, she's been barking like mad some nights at these foxes we got outside, and it's anyone with a dog, you probably relate. It's just complete pain. My white noise is not enough to block her out sometimes. So that's really where my diet fatigue is. It's just gradually come down as I've started dieting, but I'm still in a really good spot. Now let's give you guys a training update. So I previously had told you, and I've been experiencing this SI joint pain for a while in my, it's kind of your hip, low back kind of region, and it's related to Romanian deadlifts. So a while ago, I made the switch from, I was straight deadlifting to the floor, and I was also leg pressing and allowing a little bit more hip rotation and potentially a little bit of lower back grounding. And I think that combination over a while has just led to it being irritated. So I changed my stance on leg press so that I had my feet a little bit higher, didn't get that lower back grounding at all. And then I also changed my straight leg deadlift to more of an RDL and not coming all the way to the floor and being a bit stricter about my range of motion. That seemed to help, but I still get discomfort after I do RDLs. Now, my SI joint feels the best it has felt in ages, and I did RDLs today. Typically, when I do the movement, I get no pain. It's the next day or after it feels a bit stiff and painful. And yeah, it's frustrating. But I'm doing like bent over rows. It's not really impacting anything else. It doesn't really impact my training at all. It's just I get this discomfort associated with it. And so I'm hoping it's on the move to be improved then, because this is the best it's felt. And the thing I had to really focus on was basically stretching my TFL. I just found my left side was much more restricted in terms of range of motion and stiff versus my right, and I've been stretching it more here or there, not really doing too much to be honest, and it's more mobile, and that I've seen the benefit of that within the pain reduction that I've been experiencing. So hey, fingers crossed it's in a better position. So yeah, apart from that, the only other thing, I have recently got some shoulder pain. It's literally right up here, which is just aggravating. It's quite a sharp pain that I've been getting. I experienced it last week on Saturday, and then through my upper body days, I've been feeling it. And so I'm hoping tomorrow it's going to be okay, but we'll just have to see. I don't think it's anything serious. It's just, you have these quirks when you train hard for a while. These things just kind of come up and then they dissipate and they disappear and you forget about them. So I'm hoping it's that, but I thought I would mention it. So I'm getting some joint discomfort essentially. I've had no performance loss. Touch wood, this continues, because that's pretty impressive, I think, given how lean I'm getting. Still, performance is holding really well. I do put that down to being relatively lean when I started everything, so I didn't have this huge different physique that I was dealing with lots more body fat, which might be changing leverages and things like this to a larger degree. So yeah, no performance loss. In fact, some performance improvement is still happening, which I'm really pleased about. Last time, my last mesocycle, I deloaded halfway through week 8, and I took the rest of the week off and then got back into things, taking 3 or 4 days therefore off the gym. And at the moment, I'm now just halfway through week 6. So I expect I've got a couple more weeks in me. And then me and Charlotte actually want to go away for a long weekend. So I think I'll build that into the deload. Hopefully that all works out, because that would be really, really nice, because we haven't been away since February when we did the cruise. And yeah, life has been tough, to put it lightly. Then, yeah, that's really everything about training. Then if we go over kind of challenges that I've faced and the challenges I continue to face, as I mentioned last time, life has really been the hardest thing. Outside of that, prep has been a breeze. I think that has been how it's been the last weeks too. However, life is going to improve. Things hopefully over the next weeks are going to get better and better in terms of everything outside of the gym and outside of my nutrition and bodybuilding essentially. And that's going to bring its own challenges, because when kind of life is stressful and you have limited capacity for certain things, then it means I actually can be quite focused on my training and nutrition and just get it done. Whereas now life is opening up, and that will open opportunities, which is great, to be more social, to do more things, go away for a weekend, for example. But that in its own right is going to present challenges. So this is where I'm trying to align that weekend away, long weekend away, with a deload, for example. Or if it wasn't that, I'd want to try and find a gym, and we're trying to find a place that is, what's it called? Self-catered versus catered for or in a hotel, so I can manage my own nutrition of food. So yeah, it's little challenges like that, being more social, which will present its own challenges, but they're positive challenges versus the ones we were facing before. So then moving forward, things I personally want to work on over the coming weeks. One is small tweaks to my posing. I actually made a small tweak recently to my side relaxed. I was really pleased with it. Just really emphasized my width and reduced my waist size. Everything looked better. So I want to continue making those nice little tweaks, which are just going to level me up, and they make quite a big difference. Similar to like a 1 second difference in your sprint time. This little tweak in your physique, it's kind of the smoke and mirrors the art of bodybuilding to give you that like illusion of being bigger or leaner. Huge. So I'm looking forward to doing more of that. And I need to start thinking about my posing routine because, like I said, on recording this, I'm closer to 13 weeks out than 14 weeks out. So I'm getting close to that time of which like fatigue's going to add up. I'm not going to want to think about things. I just want to have a routine in mind so then I can go through it, which is why I'm really happy I've been practicing my posing so much, because now it's like in a good position where I can just kind of put it on autopilot a little bit more. It's really hard to take these things on as you get towards the end of prep. So that's really everything I have for now. If you guys have any questions, any comments, anything you want to highlight, do let me know. If you would like to see any particular insights, I could do a full day of eating or something like that sometime soon, then do let me know. Otherwise, I appreciate you listening in, and I guess I will catch you in the next one. Take care.